morning.
Good morning, Father.
Very warm welcome to all of our guests at St. Mike's. It's good to have you. Those of you that have spent time in New Orleans, anybody ever had boudin? Yeah, if you've never had boudin, you're missing out. It's an awesome thing. One of the great treasures of New Orleans. But if you've spent time in New Orleans, you may have heard of Hurricane Betsy. Hurricane Betsy. It hit them like a Mack truck in the year 1965. And some of the little ones who remember that, who are much older now, they told them in 1965, get everything you got. Get into the car and hit the road, because it's coming. And they did. And they got in their cars and they sat on the highway and sat and sat and sat. And they were on the highway when the hurricane hit. So let's fast forward to 2005 when they told them Hurricane Katrina's coming. What do you think they did? They sat at home. Said, I ain't doing that again. We're going to ride it out. Did you know that most of the people that died in Hurricane Katrina were elderly? And it was not because they couldn't get out. They had plenty of time to get out of the city. Why didn't they leave if they had a full week to leave? Any idea? They're allergic to change. Allergic to change. They did not want the routine messed up. Do you know somebody like that? They do the same thing at the same time every single day. Right? I want to tell you a story about a man named Patrick Turner. Patrick Turner. Patrick was a devout Catholic. He lived in New Orleans in 2005. Went to Mass every day. Awesome guy. Very active in his church. But he was a man of small routines. He did the same thing at the exact same time every day. Every Sunday he would go to the cemetery to visit his deceased wife's grave. Same time, every day. And his family were like, Dad, we gotta go. This hurricane's coming. We gotta go. And he said, I'm not leaving. I want to go to Mass tomorrow. This is crazy, Dad. We gotta go. Come on. And they were calling him so much, Patrick Turner eventually took the phone off the hook. Sadly, a week and a half after Hurricane Katrina, they couldn't get in touch with their dad. Sadly, they found his body in the attic. He died of a heart attack, the rising water, and he was clutched to his chest a crucifix. Now his family wanted his story told, and that's why I'm telling you now. Patrick Turner was a great guy. He wasn't afraid to die. He survived World War II. He wasn't afraid to die. What was he afraid of? Change. Do the same thing at the same time every single day. Are you afraid of change? If you're like me, you are. Right? But here's the problem. We can be an awesome person like Patrick Turner, but you can't grow that way, folks. You can never grow if you don't push your comfort zone. You gotta push your comfort zone. Because there's people, they come to Mass every Sunday and we're happy you're here. Doesn't mean you're growing. It means you're here and that's awesome. Doesn't mean you're growing. It goes like this. If you remember nothing of what I tell you this morning, remember this. If you want to be a better person, you have to do something you've never done. If you want to be a better person, you have to become someone that you have never yet been. How do you do that? You got to push your comfort zone. You know what? It goes like this. There's an old expression in the Catholic faith that says this. Jesus came to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. Jesus came to comfort the afflicted and to afflict those that have become too comfortable. Have you hit the autopilot button in your spiritual life? If you have, put your crash helmet on because it's coming. Because Jesus, he's like the IRS. He knows where you live. All right? He's telling you. If you're kind of like Patrick Turner and you don't like change, it's coming, man. That's not a bad thing. That's how we grow. Let me give you an example of pushing your comfort zone. Anybody ever heard the expression, bury the hatchet? Bury the hatchet. You know where that comes from? The Iroquois Indians. When they were fighting with someone else, instead of going after them with a hatchet, they buried it. It's a symbol. We're going to get over it now. We're going to get over it. And they understood that that was good for the whole community. Question, do you need to bury the hatchet with someone this Christmas season? There's a comfort zone shift. Push your comfort zone. Because that's how we grow. Here's another example. Do you know somebody that's kind of a homebody? They don't really want to leave the house. And their spouse is like, come on, honey, let's do this. No. It's like when anybody ever spend a few days in the hospital, and after you spend a few days in the hospital, you know, they come in every 15 minutes taking blood, and you're like, oh, just want some sleep. And after you spend a few days in the hospital, you just want to go where? Home. I want my own bed, my own bathroom, my house slippers. Imagine you take a trip. And you're super excited and you pack your bags. Or if you're like me, you pack your bags like 30 seconds before you leave. It's all my hair care products. It takes a while. So you get everything packed and you go. And then about 2 days before your trip is done, where do you want to go? Home. I just want to go home. Because you're tired from travel. There's nothing wrong. If you're a homebody, it's okay. But if you're a spiritual homebody, now you got a problem. Because that's not realistic. It's not realistic. Life doesn't work that way. Life throws curveballs, in case you haven't noticed. So if we create a little comfort zone around ourselves and say, promise, life is going to push that. But that's not a bad thing because God allows these things to help us to grow. You want to be somebody you've never been? Do something you've never done. Push. Push. You know, in this gospel today, Jesus says this, do not let your hearts become drowsy. In other words, don't hit the autopilot button. This Advent season, this is a time to push. You want to give this much? Give that much. Give that much. Because that's how we grow. Do something. Reach out to someone. When was the last time that you talked to your coworker about coming to church? Well, Father, look, I'm not comfortable standing on a soapbox. I'm not asking you to stand on a soapbox, man. What I'm asking you is, at lunch, talk to them. When was the last time that you said, would you like to come to church? Something that small is very frightening for a lot of people. Push. I call it having a tush push. And some of us need a tush push. Some of us need jumper cables, man. Right? I want to tell you a story. About 2 years ago, I had dinner with a priest friend of mine who will go unnamed. And we're sitting there talking, and I said, Father Ben, I gotta ask you a question, man. I said, what? I'm like, this should be good. He says, you know, I love the people of God. They're awesome. But I swear there's some things I do not understand about these people in my church. I said, what's that? He said, you know, you go to their home, and you go to the bathroom, and you wash your hands, and they have all these decorative soaps, but you're not allowed to use them. You have these decorative towels, but you're not allowed to use them. He's like, what's up with the decorative soaps? And I said, dude, I'm a guy. Why would I know that? Okay? And he says, and another thing, Father Ben, what's the deal with all the pillows on beds? You know, you go in the room and there's like 35 pillows, you gotta pull them off. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing in their bedroom, man? Right? Anybody know how many TV stations the average American has? 190. You know how much the average American watches? I'm not good with math, but you do the math. If we're paying for 190 TV stations and we're watching 4, why do you pay for the others? You're saying, where's Father Ben going with this conversation? Here you go. If something is keeping you from spiritual growth, if it's like decorative soaps that you don't use, they're just there for looks. Decorative pillows that you don't use, they're just there for looks. If it's like TV stations you're paying for but never watch. If there's something in your life that's keeping you from God, get rid of it, man. If there's someone that's pulling you away, that's sapping your emotional and spiritual energy, maybe you need to reevaluate if they need to be in your life. Let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Anything else is from the evil one. If it's sapping your energy to be around that person, if they're pulling you away from God by their own thinking, let them go. It's an act of love. It goes like this. You want a comfort zone shift? Here's a comfort zone shift. Gentlemen, this Advent, if you want to push your comfort zone, learn to be a better listener to your wife. I hear this a lot. When couples argue, this is one of the things we sometimes hear. I wouldn't have to blank if you would just do blank. I wouldn't have to blank if you would just do blank. You know, I wouldn't have to cheat on you, honey, if you would take better care of yourself. Really, it's your fault. Poco loco. People believe this. People believe this. Or it goes like this. You always blank and you never blank. You always interrupt me, you never listen. And you know what happens, gentlemen? And of course this goes both ways. You know what happens when we're not good listeners? Nothing. Nothing. We don't grow. They call it stonewalling. The other person is talking and I'm just sitting there staring at the TV. You want some comfort zone shift? Learn to be a better listener. Boy, that's right in front of us every day. You don't have to go off and do retreats and read lots of spiritual mysticism. This is something that's right in front of us every day. Learn to be a better listener. Push. It's a tush push. If you want to be someone that you've never been, you got to do something you've never done. And maybe what we've never done is crawl inside the words of my spouse as if I've never heard them before, even though I've heard them 1,000 times. Brothers and sisters, this time, Jesus is telling us, he's like, look, you really want to grow closer to me? Then take to heart these words. He came not only to bring comfort to the afflicted, but to afflict those who have become too comfortable. And if we become too comfortable, it's time for a tush push. It's worth it.